guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for coming back. Today's video is going to be about things you should consider before going into nursing. These are going to be things that if you hear them, if they match you, or if they sound very familiar to you, then you might want to think or second guess your decision of going into nursing. As you guys know, I just like to be open and honest with you guys. I did a video like this before and you guys really liked it, and I think it's gotten over 200k views as of now, and a lot of you guys keep asking me to do another one. So I have put together another list of things that you guys should really think about before you go into nursing. This video is not meant to scare you or discourage you. It is just meant to educate you so that you can make an informed decision when it comes to nursing. So if you want to know if you fit into any of these categories, then please stay tuned for the video. Hey guys, welcome back to the video. Thank you so much for coming back. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Mercy. I am a BSN RN, and on this channel I talk about nursing, lifestyle, beauty. I do a little bit of vlogging. I talk about feminine hygiene. I do some hauls here and there, and I just do a little bit of everything. So if you would like to join my family, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below, and also hit the bell notification so you'll never miss another video from me again. This channel is meant to bring a lot of value, a lot of inspiration, and a lot of encouragement to you guys, because a lot of the stuff I talk about here I have already been through. So I like to share my experience with you guys so that you can either learn from it or be inspired by it. So again, if you would like to join my family, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Okay, so without talking anymore, let's get right into the video. The number one thing that you should really think about before you get into nursing is, if you know in the bottom, the deepest, most profoundest part of your heart that nursing is not for you, then don't go into nursing. And a lot of you guys might say, why would someone go into nursing if they know it's not for them? There is a lot of reason why people do what they do. Sometimes it can be parental pressure. Sometimes it can be because that's what everyone around them is doing. Sometimes it can be for anything. But the thing is, as you always hear, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. The opposite is also true. Something like nursing takes a lot of work, takes a lot of money, takes a lot of focus, and it takes a lot of time. So if you know in your heart, maybe it's because your mom keeps telling you that nursing is for you and you have to go into nursing. Especially if you're African like myself, a lot of our parents like to force our career on us. You're either going to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. Those are your three options. Anything else is not acceptable. That used to be the mentality, especially within the African community. And I wouldn't say it's completely horrible that our parents do that. The reason they do that is, number one, those careers are three of the most, I guess, best paying careers when you think about it. The second reason is, to them, that is like the highest potential. And another reason is, those are the most common careers that a lot of people know. So when they force those things on us, it's not because they hate us, it's only because they want the best for us. But some parents can also be very pushy. Some of them don't realize that there is a lot more out there that you can do as far as career goes. So some of your parents might be telling you, you have to be a nurse, you have to be a nurse. If you know within your heart that you might want to be a fashion designer, or you want to be a lawyer, or you want to be a stay-at-home mom, or you want to be a businesswoman, or you want to be a YouTuber, if there's something out there that you have a passion for that you think that you would be more productive at, then you might want to sit down and have a conversation with yourself and then follow your dreams. Because if you go into nursing knowing fully well that nursing is not for you, you're gonna regret it. Nursing, as I said, is expensive. It takes a lot of time. The schooling is really hard. The schooling takes a lot of focus. The schooling is also very expensive. So that's not something you just want to jump into and then years later realize that I didn't like it anyways, so I don't know what I'm doing here. That is going to be a big waste of your time and money. So number one, if you know deep down inside of your heart that nursing is not for you, then don't even go into nursing. The second thing that you should consider before going into nursing, if this is you, nursing is definitely not for you. The second thing is, if you hate schooling. As I already mentioned before, nursing school is very hard. Nursing school is not like a lot of other schools. Some schools you can simply do online, which means you can have people help you out. You can pay people to take your exams for you. There's a lot of weird stuff that goes on out there. If you really hate schooling and you hate the process of having to learn something and spend so much time learning it, then nursing is not for you. Because nursing school, I can honestly say nursing school is one of the hardest things I've ever done. From the LPN program all the way to the master's level, nursing school is hard, and I've been through all of those tracks, and I can honestly tell you that it is not a walk in the park. It is something that takes a lot of focus, something that takes a lot of time and dedication. So if you're one of those people that think, I want a degree, I want to go to school, but I don't want to spend so much time and effort, then nursing is not for you. The third thing that you should consider before going into nursing is if you don't like to pay attention to tiny little details. Here's what I mean by that. When you're a nurse, the difference between killing a patient and saving a patient's life can be one little decimal point or one little mistake. Nursing is a life and death situation. You have to be someone that is very detail oriented. And if you're not that kind of person, then you have to make yourself that kind of person. Because even starting from the schooling portion of nursing, when you take your exams, sometimes 4 of the answers are right, but only one of them is the most right. And the difference between the rest can be one little word, or if it's a math problem like dosage calculation, it can be one little decimal point or one little number. So you have to be very detailed oriented. You have to pay attention to those little details. Number 4, this ties into number 3 a little bit. You have to be a disciplined person. If you're not a disciplined person, nursing is not for you. From the schooling all the way to the profession itself, you have to have some level of discipline or a lot of discipline, because first of all, with school, you have to stay on top of everything. I always say the state boards is like a final exam, and the whole of nursing school is basically getting ready for that exam. So everything builds on each other. So from your first class all the way to the last class, everything is building and building, because when you get to that level where you have to take the state boards, everything depends on it, and you can't just cram everything. You can't just try to memorize everything and then once you graduate it's over. The state boards is a national exam. Everyone in every state takes the same exam, so you can't cheat, you can't buy your way through it, you can't have your professor help you out, you can't do anything. Everyone is held at the same standards. So you have to be a disciplined person. You have to be able to set your priority so that you can succeed throughout nursing school. And then once you graduate, once you take that state boards, you still have to be a disciplined person, because nursing is a profession. It is not something you just get a certificate in. You're dealing with people's life every day. So you have to have some form of discipline to be able to do this. If you're not that kind of person, I'm sorry to say it, then nursing may not be for you. The 5th thing I want to say is, with nursing, you have to be a people person. And I know a lot of you are going to say you don't have to be a people person because there's a lot of things you can do in nursing. Yes, that is true. There's a lot of parts of nursing where you don't have to deal with people, but ultimately I want to say about 80% of nursing is dealing with people. Even if you're a nurse practitioner running your own practice, you still have to deal with your patients. You still have to deal with the doctor above you. If you're a bedside nurse, you're dealing with family, co-workers, caseworkers, patients, colleagues. You're dealing with a whole bunch of people. You have to have some kind of people person skill. I always like to go back to nursing school because that's where it all begins. Even throughout nursing school, you have to have some kind of people person skill, because when you go to clinical, you're going to have classmates, you're going to have your professor, and sometimes you're going to be paired with a nurse or with a preceptor. You have to have some kind of people person skill to be able to succeed in that kind of situation, because if you're just a rude or nasty person, this is not going to work for you. If you're just somebody that is not willing or open to work with other people or deal with other people, this also might not work for you. If you want to get to the point in nursing where you don't have to deal with anyone at all, most likely you're going to have to go all the way up to the master's level. But even then, when you work your way up there, you have to work with people. There's going to be some kind of person-to-person interaction. And I personally don't think that if you're not a people person, you should go into nursing. And this is just my opinion. This is my personal opinion. I just feel like A nurse is someone who is there to be a friend. You're there to educate. You're there to mediate. You're there to administrate medications. You're there to advocate. You're there to do a lot. And a lot of the things you do are going to be people related. So I personally don't think people like this should go into nursing, just because, and I've seen this a lot over the years of being a nurse. I can tell people who just don't like people. I've seen this a lot, and those people just don't make good nurses. Unless, again, you're working by yourself as a nurse, you're working behind a cubicle or in your own office or somewhere just doing your own thing, and you never have to interact with people. And those jobs and those cases are very, very rare. So you don't have to be all up in people's faces. You don't have to be the most friendly person, but you just have to keep in mind that with nursing comes people, and with people comes interactions, and you have to be able to interact with people in a healthy way and in a productive way in order to really succeed in this profession. Another big one that I would say is, if you do not like hard work, nursing is not for you. Again, I know a lot of you guys are gonna say, everybody can work hard, or I'm a hard worker. Yes, that is true, but nursing is more than just one job title or one job skill. A nurse is a whole bunch of things, and you don't know this until you really become a nurse, because a nurse is not just there to administer medication. A nurse can have many different roles, but some of those very critical roles means educating patients, which means if a patient doesn't know something about their disease process, or if they're having problems understanding the medications, you have to really get down to their level and be able to teach them so that they can comprehend what you're telling them. Because if you give a medication to a patient to take home and they don't know how much to take, they don't know what to expect, what to report, that's on you. You're the nurse. You're supposed to be the one educating that patient on everything they need to know. So that's one part of nursing. Another part is to advocate. Your job is to always be there for that patient. If there's something that patient needs and they don't have, your job is to facilitate the patient's success. Nurses do so much. We clean diapers, we make beds, we feed, we administer medication, we do wound dressings, we suction, we administer blood, we do treatments. You do so much as a nurse. So it's not just one thing, oh, I'm a nurse and all I do is administer medication. You have to be able to blend into every environment that you find yourself in, because again, nursing has a lot of positions, nursing has a lot of jobs, and nurses also have a lot of roles. So you have to have that ability to work really hard to get to where you want to be, or to succeed in the profession. And the working hard starts all the way back in nursing school. You bust your butt in nursing school. You're giving up so much, you're sacrificing so much, including sleep, money, relationships, friendships, weddings. You're giving up so much, and you're busting your butt every week studying for those exams, because the exams in nursing school, they come back to back to back to back, and you have to bust your butt every time to be able to pass those exams. So the hard work comes from the beginning all the way till the end. Number 7, if you're the kind of person that likes to take shortcuts, nursing is not for you. Again, this starts all the way from nursing school all the way to the profession itself. If you're taking shortcuts in school, for example, only studying the night before an exam, or copying off your friends, or relying on everybody else to do those group projects, you are not going to succeed. You're not going to make it anywhere in nursing, because you can't get through nursing school like that, first of all. And number 2, when you get into the profession itself, taking shortcuts will ruin your life. That is where people hurt patients. That's where people lose their license. That's where people get fired. That's where people make a lot of mistakes. When you take shortcuts, that's when the mistakes come. Policies and procedures are put in place for a reason. You have to follow those policies and procedures. You have to follow the way of doing things. Even if it takes you a lot of time, at least you know that you're going to do it once and get it done. But if you try to take shortcuts, you might get there faster, but you might create a whole bunch of problems for yourself. You could get sued. Again, you could lose your license, you could get in trouble, you could get fired, you could just create a whole bunch of problems for yourself, and it's so not worth it. So take the time to do things the right way and stop taking shortcuts. If you are a shortcut taker, I'm sorry, but nursing is not for you. Number 8, I've said this before, and I'm sure you've heard this a lot of times, but I cannot make a video like this without saying this. The number 8 thing I want to say is, if you're in nursing because of the money, nursing is definitely not for you. The money is okay. The money can be good, but you will be sadly mistaken if you go into nursing for the money, because again, nurses do so much more. It can be stressful, it can be draining, it can be rewarding, it can be happy, it can be sad. I mean, there's so much that goes into nursing. So just thinking that nursing is a get rich quick kind of process, but you're not really in it because your heart is in it, you're gonna be miserable, because the things you will have to do, the things you will have to put up with, the people you have to put up with will just not be worth it. It has to come natural for you. It has to be something that you really have a passion for. And I hate it when people go into nursing for the money, because those are the worst nurses and doctors. When you meet these people, you can tell those are the nastiest nurses. Those are the doctors who give you the wrong diagnoses. Those are the kind of people just, you can tell they just don't care. And it's so horrible, because this is not a profession for that. People are vulnerable. People are at their worst stages. People need love. People need care. And if you come into this profession just because you feel like you're gonna make money, that is so wrong. Because again, those are the kind of people that end up making the patient's experience so bad. And trust me, patients remember their experiences. Some nurses today became nurses because they were patients, and the way a certain nurse or doctor took care of them made them want to pay that forward. So they became nurses because of that reason. Or maybe it was their family members or their loved ones. And some people today are traumatized because of the treatments they received. Another big one is communications. If you are a horrible communicator, nursing is not for you, because nursing relies heavily on communication. As a nurse, you are expected to communicate with the doctors, the caseworkers, the social workers, your colleagues, your managers, your patients family members, your PCAs, anybody on the team you are expected to communicate with. And communication is very critical. Communication or miscommunications can be, again, the difference between hurting a patient and saving a patient's life. If you fail to communicate something important to the doctor, that is something that could be missed, and therefore something bad could happen. So the patient's disease process could get worse. You could give the wrong information to your colleagues. You just have to have some kind of communication skills. I'm not saying that you have to be the best communicator, but your communication skills have to be adequate, because nursing relies heavily on communication. The last most important thing I want to say is that if you're afraid to pay for your education, then nursing is not for you. I've said this in so many of my videos. All nursing schools are not created equally. Just because there's a nursing school down the block doesn't mean you should go there. Just because it's $10,000 versus a school that is, I don't know, $50,000 doesn't mean you should save money by going to that school, because your ability to pass, your ability to be a great nurse depends on the school you went to. There are a lot of nursing schools out there, and a lot of them are horrible. A lot of them are just there to take your money. So you have to do your research. Now, I'm not saying that all expensive nursing schools are the best nursing schools, and I'm also not saying that all the less expensive nursing schools are also bad nursing schools. I'm just saying that a little bit of research needs to be done. And as they say, you pay for what you get. So if you're going to those affordable little neighborhood nursing schools, you may not be able to pass your NCLEX. And if you do manage to pass your NCLEX after jumping through so many hoops, you may not be a great nurse, because you haven't learned the basics of being a nurse. So a lot of your education is going to take place on the job, and that can be very hard. So don't be afraid to pay for your education. I'm not saying go and spend $1 million on a nursing education, but just do your research and find good schools that are also affordable, that will give you the best education. Again, a lot of the stuff I said in this video are not the law. I'm just saying from my experience, things that I've seen, and my goal on this channel is to help you guys through my experience. So these are things that I've seen that people struggle with, and I just like to share these things with you guys. So anything I said in this video doesn't mean that if this is you, nursing is definitely not for you. Skills can be learned, people can change, people can become motivated, a lot of things can happen. I just say these things to maybe open your eyes, to give you something to think about before you either go into nursing or continue with your nursing journey. So that is it for this video, guys. I hope the video was helpful. If you can relate to any any of the things I mentioned in the video, go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up. If you have any questions or any comments, or if you have any video requests at all, go ahead and leave a comment down below. And also, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, because there's a lot of value that comes from this channel. Thank you guys again so much for your love and support, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.